Oh, sorry, I kind of blacked out there for a bit. Just... The misuse of logic was so painful that I fainted for a good 12 hours.
Yeah, that'll happen.
We're back in this place where young, was it a young Beato?
And yet, it's Kinzo.
He doesn't look like he's aged.
Yeah, that's weird.
Maybe that's just sprite reuse. Okay, I'm willing to buy it.
Beatrice.
Yeah, that's me. No, I'm not stealing her.
I have been calling to you for some time now. Did you not hear me?
Wait.
Meh. Were you? My apologies. I was lost in thought. Forgive me.
He's calling this Beatrice and not the other Beatrice.
The weather is pleasant. Yes, I can understand how the weather has stolen your heart. Will you have your black tea here? Who am I?
I'm sorry?
I will bring some tea now. Wait here for a while. Forget about the tea. Talk with me.
Kinzo, what is going on here?
Very well.
Kinzo had used the excuse of getting black tea to try and interrupt the conversation for the time being, but his attempt had been very transparent. I sat in a garden chair and beckoned Kinzo to do the same. Kinzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while we sat and appreciated the silence.
Who am I? Until today, no one has answered this question. For some reason, everyone averts their gaze and evades me.
How you doing, Beato?
I have known you for a long time. I think of you as my best friend, even as a father. That is why I want so much for you to tell me. You should know who I am. Why are you worried about something like that? You are Beatrice, the master of this mansion. Is that not so?
What is going on here?
What more could you want to know? I do not know. What's this? Don't you even understand what it is you want to know?
It seems they have a very different
relationship
dynamic
than we thought, huh?
This is
weird.
A whole lot of...
How mysterious. In one's youth, there are times one wants to play in the maze of thought that has no exit.
Did you just call me a thought?
Perhaps that's what your worries are.
Kinzo laughed as though it was a trivial matter.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha.
However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was another attempt to force me to stop any further questioning.
So you won't tell me after all. There is nothing to tell. You are Beatrice. Isn't that more than enough? No, that's not it. What I wish to know is not my name. I want to know who I am. Who am I? What am I? How long have I been here, and how long will I have to continue my days here?
This is Rosa recounting this, right?
Maybe.
I think.
We're not sure.
Oh, that's Kinzo, right?
I really should bring some black tea. Don't you think it a waste of all this fine weather?
Ooh, what is this all about? It looks like it's probably the story of your past, right?
Something like that. To think I would go this far back.
Looks like you had some pretty deep worries even then, wondering who you were.
That is to be expected. At the time, I was unable to understand who I was. or why I was alive.
Well, in puberty, everyone's captured by those philosophical worries at least once, wondering what meaning there is in their life. And then sometimes it doesn't go away, and it just lasts for the entire rest of their life, and you spend your entire time wondering, why? Why am I doing any of this? What is the point of it all?
And that's why they invented philosophy departments and stand-up comedy.
To safely cordon off all of them into areas where they could be away from the public eye. Don't believe me? When's the last time you watched a stand-up comedy special? My point exactly. Doesn't this just prove that you had a charming period like that at one point?
I'd been in that mansion since the time of my birth, and I lived only inside the mansion. Of course, I went out into the garden, but the area around the mansion was surrounded by a very tall fence. I was unable to leave through it, and I was told severely that I mustn't leave. I could walk freely throughout the mansion and the garden, but outside of that, not once was my desire to take just one step outside of my own accord granted.
What do you mean by that? Are you trying to say that, as far back as you can remember, you were always a bird in a cage?
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Despite all your rage? Oh, I see. We were going for the same reference there. It's a record from my favorite. Oh, I'll buy you a Coke later. It's a record from my favorite band, Rage Against the Machine. Right? Right? Why are you giving me that look?
And that's what I thought at the time. After all, as soon as I became aware, I was living like that. I didn't even think to question it.
Who in the world are you?
That's it.
Wait, where in the world are you? Are you Carmen Sandiego? Do you know her? Do you know where she is?
Yeah, a little known fact, she's an endless witch too.
Oh my god! Wait, one more question. Is the rumor about a fling between her and the Waldo of Where's Waldo fame? Is that true? Not gonna confirm or deny it. Okay, I understand.
I don't witch and tell.
Oh, nice one. Low five for that one, Beato. Nice.
That's it. That is what I also hoped to know.
I'm sure you'll say something like, I wasn't a human, I was a witch, right?
No, that's not true. That isn't true yet. Or should I say that was once the case? I was constructed by Kinzo, a human built by a human.
Uh-oh.
No, perhaps I should call it a cage made of flesh.
You sure you don't want to get into stand-up comedy? Sounds like a good outlet for this.
I tried it once. My routine was pretty killer.
So... What was your... Never mind. There is no series of questions following up to that is going to make me have an answer I want to hear, is there? What the hell? This is getting weird.
You probably won't believe it anyway. But listen first.
Okay.
I was a mighty witch who had lived for 1,000 years.
Whoa.
But at one point, I was summoned by Kinzo. And by that hidden art, I was bound as his prisoner for eternity.
Really? You fell for that one? Never heard that before. From what we hear in the Ushiromiya family, you were summoned by grandfather, made something like a devil's contract with him, and gave him the gold.
Indeed. That is correct. Then, I was supposed to vanish until the contract was complete.
Oh, I see.
But, well, popular women have it rough.
Really? Do you know any? I would like to meet them.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully they're listen to foot things.
By some turn of events, Kinzo fell in love with me.
Oh, grandfather's nearsightedness must have gotten pretty bad. The stigmatism, too. To fall in love with you, of all things. Sorry, that was really rude, actually. Like, I know we're in, like, a game to the death here, but, like, I feel like I should respect you more. Like, I feel like I've grown to respect you. Not just like I should, but like I want to. Like, I don't know. We don't, like, we're enemies, sure, but do we have to, like, hate each other to be enemies? I'll go buy you that Coke.
Thank you. Thank you for the respect, Battler. I'll do my best to destroy it.
They only have cherry Coke in the fridge.
Well, to me, there could be nothing more bothersome. However, the power of humans is a frightening thing. He displayed that fearsome power and rooted me to this place. He said I wouldn't be freed until I nodded my head in agreement. Such an overbearing man.
Yeah, that sounds very extra, just like him. Isn't that awesome? Everyone knew Grandfather was obsessed with the occult, but who would have guessed he had the power to root down the great witch Beato? Ridiculous. Who'd believe such a weird story?
As I thought, you don't believe.
All I believe is the fact that you lived in this hidden mansion in the middle of the forest. You are the 19th person on Rokkenjima, right?
Indeed. Just as you imagine, this is deep within the forest of Rokkenjima.
Okay, but I don't buy that no one has known the entire fucking mansion is there. Look, it's like, it's even in a tree clearing. Like, if you just flew above the island once, you would see it.
They didn't find it because of magic, Dick Nips.
But, no.
A hidden mansion not to be found
oh my god,
from the
turn them
outside
back!
world.
I don't want them to look like... I don't want them to be dicks.
Its name is Kuadorian, Nine Birds Retreat.
Oh, that's a very good name. Come to think of it, I heard the guest house's real name was Torayan, Visitor's Retreat. I see, the naming sense is familiar. So you were Grandfather's mistress who lived here in secret. Isn't that right?
Mistress isn't the right way to say it. You should probably call it Kinzo's unrequited love.
Did he at least give you an Xbox?
No, they hadn't been invented yet.
But I thought you were an endless witch. Couldn't you just like, go to the future? What's the best system ever going to be, and can you get one for me?
Surprisingly, the Sega Genesis.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
I would have thought the Nintendo GameCube.
It makes more sense in hindsight.
I suppose.
I spoke of it just now, correct? He fell in love with me of his own accord. He then courted me, but I rejected him.
I really like Echo the Dolphin.
Then I was shut up in this hidden mansion. No, that's not quite right. It would be more correct to say that I was shut up in this body.
I've got no idea what it is you said at the end there.
You'll just make fun of it and refuse to listen, right?
Why are you acting so coy and vulnerable now? Like you were stepping on me not like one chapter ago. What changed?
It's called Gap Moe, dipshit. I've got to have some charm points. How else am I going to be the star of a popular visual novel?
I don't know. I don't like the dairy bit at all. Can you go back to soon, please?
After all, you say you don't believe in witches or magic. If you have no ears to hear what I tell you, saying it would be the pinnacle of foolishness.
I'll decide whether I believe it or not. After all, if I don't ask, the story won't continue. Tell me. Let's hear this story from your past.
Very well. I refused Kinzo when he courted me, but he was not a man to lose heart at something like that. He wanted to make me nod my head in agreement no matter what.
Man, it's really creepy when men do that.
Yeah,
I really hope that I don't grow up to be like that. Man, could you imagine me as a womanizer? Ugh, I shudder at the thought. Why are you laughing at me?
He shut me up in this mansion and spent an eternity trying to win my heart.
Talk about overbearing. Guess no one likes obstinate men, huh?
Regardless of whether I responded to his courting or not, having a man so desperate for me was, well, as a woman, it wasn't so unpleasant. However...
What do you mean as a woman? I don't follow. Could you elaborate?
We could demonstrate, Battler. We can give you an object lesson. I do have magic for that.
Oh, that would be... Checks wrist. Terrible.
However, I never accepted his proposal. I tried to find some way to break through his guard, but that barrier was firm and I couldn't crack it.
And then?
After trying to resist in various ways, I eventually reached the conclusion that to escape from Kinzo's barrier, I would have to throw away this body of flesh. The physical body is a vessel with many restrictions for a magic user.
Ooh, throw away your body of flesh. What does that even mean? Something like an out-of-body experience? Were you astral projecting?
Well, if you want to think of it that way. However, I am no spirit. Even though I am a witch, in the beginning, I was born with a human's body of flesh.
Ew, flesh bodies are weird.
So... I know, right? So for me, throwing away that physical body, while it didn't mean the same thing as death, it did require a similar level of resolve.
You know, that sounds like something Jessica told me once.
Really?
She was going through a phase. And she was talking about how she must destroy the physical body and reconstitute it in her own image or something like that. Listen, you'd like her. When you're not murdering her sometimes, you should have a chat.
Will do.
How did you not pick up?
I don't know. So, in other words... Oh, that's Battler talking.
Oh, God. Whenever I sound like you, I feel like I just lost part of my soul.
Me too.
You decided that you couldn't be released except by suicide, is that it?
It wasn't suicide. It was nothing more than throwing away my body of flesh. Of course, becoming nothing more than soul is a precarious situation. When the soul leaves its body of flesh, it is constantly exposed to the strong winds of the sun. It was not easy for me to maintain myself and avoid being scattered by them. As it turns out, the solar wind, you know, really interferes with soul particles. You wouldn't think so.
It's right in the name.
Yeah.
Solar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That's funny. You're making a pun. I think that's pretty funny. That gets a solid, like, 8 out of 10.
See,
better than average.
See, I'm glad we could have this chat.
You sure you don't want that stand-up comedy special?
It was a final measure that I wanted to avoid if I could. However, there was no other way to break through Kinzo's barrier. Anyway, I am an unfettered person. I couldn't stand being kept in a cage until Kinzo's life was over.
I couldn't see the stuff Beato kept going on about, throwing away her body of flesh, as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her, and to escape from that, she chose her own death? So you're saying you committed suicide? Even though you just said you weren't? I'm stuck on this point, apparently. What are you talking about? Isn't that you sitting carefree there in the garden chair?
That's right. That is the new cage I was given by Kinzo.
Cage? Man, I really love that, composer. Let's sit here for 4 minutes and 33 seconds in appreciation. We're not actually going to do that.
I don't know, I was on board.
I'm pretty sure we'd get kicked out for YouTube crimes.
Silence is golden.
They'd copyright strike us for using a recording of that song. You mean this mansion?
No. I mean my body, relaxing in the garden chair over there. Even though I was so desperate to escape that I became naught but a soul, Kinzo still had no intention of letting me go. Oh, he was a fearsome person. Normally, when the object of one's unrequited love shows that she is willing to die, it should be enough to bring that person to their senses, even if their love has lasted 100 years. Perhaps that's why even he managed to become a sorcerer of sorts.
Beato, we're getting a lot of humanizing backstory for you.
I know, right?
I almost feel bad for you. And then I remember you slaughtered my entire family twice now.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
Yeah. I know.
Do you want to help out next time?
Not... Can we undo it? If we can undo it, it has no moral meaning, so yes.
Sweet.
Don't try to confuse me with that incomprehensible witch girl talk. What exactly are you trying to say?
That Kinzo didn't let me escape, even after I became a soul. Human emotions are terrifying. To think he would be able to exhibit such power, tying down a dead soul, is not something that can be accomplished easily. Not even for a magician who specializes in such matters. Because I knew this, Kinzo's fearful magical power shocked me for the first time.
You saying he's really good at magic?
Apparently.
Oh, I wonder if he's playing any new formats these days. What does he play?
I hear he got into Frontier.
Oh, people still play Ooh.
Then, Kinzo seized my soul and brought me back. However, a cage to hold a sea soul cannot be made from iron or lead. Only one thing remained.
What? You weren't going to say it was a magical cage or something, are you?
Wrong.
Ooh, I got a yawn partway through that one, sorry.
It's that body of flesh over there, just like yours or mine. Only a cage made of flesh and blood can tie a soul down to this world.
You.
Kinzo shut my soul up in a cage of flesh built to be exactly like me.
Wait, are you a golem? So to sum up, it's like this. Grandfather obstinately courted you, you started to hate it, committed suicide, but you weren't clever enough to finish the job. Damn, you really took a roundabout way to say something like that.
No, that's wrong. My soul was shut up in the seed of a homunculus, and I was born out of a test tube.
What? Well, that's crazy. How would they fit you even in there? I've tried to fit a baby in a test tube before. It doesn't work.
It was a really big one.
Okay.
Specialty tube, witch size.
Okay, good to know. Well, I didn't even know they made those.
That's
Beato.
Kinzo accomplished even the miracle of creating life, and simply to shut my soul up in that cage. That he would show such magical power simply because of his own love? A thoroughly terrifying person.
You don't say. Ooh, it's already gotten pretty ridiculous. Say whatever you would. I won't believe anything. Just do what you like.
What's with this unpleasant attitude?
Huh? In the beginning, I showed a little interest, thinking there might be some huge hint hidden here. The more I ask, the weirder this story starts to get. I get the feeling that even though this is supposed to be a game about denying witches, I'm suddenly being forced to just swallow this story about witches. Sorry, but I don't feel like listening to this anymore. Just keep rambling on to yourself as much as you want. I'll be over here, picking at my earwax or something. Dejected Beato face? Have we ever seen that before?
I don't think so.
Aww. Better.
How the turns have tabled.
When I started acting cold, Beato seemed unusually discouraged. Of course, her expression was still shameless, but in that really easy-to-understand expression of hers, I had the feeling I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness at my failure to find the story of her past interesting. For some reason, that subtle reaction made her seem pitiful. Even though I kept my careless attitude, I decided to cover for her slightly. Damn it, even though she's an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because her chromosomes are... Wait, no, that's not what Battler is like.
Wow.
I'm still weak against her because she's a lady.
There we go. There we go.
Just regular sexism.
Yeah.
That's what we've decided to go with. Well, I've got absolutely no desire to believe you, but keep going. Let's have a bit of a story instead of a tea snack.
So you treat the story of my past like little more than a snack.
No, I treat these cookies like a snack. They're very good.
Do you expect me to just casually tell you when you insult me like that?
You were right, they're better from the books. I didn't understand, and then I tried one, and I'm like, wow. It's both alive and dead cookie. After I made fun of her, Beato reacted a little sensitively. Looked like even though making fun of people was her specialty, she was horrible at being made fun of by others. Just then my black teacup suddenly made a sound, surprisingly. Milady's soul was seized and breathed into a cage of new life. In other words, Milady received life as a human once more. Before I realized it, the demon butler had taken my cup and was adding more black tea to it.
Ronove, enough of that. This person just said it was too ridiculous to be worth listening to. Well, he's too ridiculous to be worth talking to.
And yet you keep him around. I'm baking some new cookies right now. Until they're ready, I thought you might find the story of Milady's past to be a perfect substitute for a snack.
Didn't I say that's enough talking about me? Such unpleasant people, the lot of you. I'm leaving.
Walks out of the witch realm into the void. There's nothing out here!
Ronove, serve our food and then go. No pointless chit-chat with Battler.
Certainly. I will make an effort. Beato's short temper, peculiar to women, which I didn't really understand, took hold of her, and she turned her body into gold butterflies, scattered and disappeared. After that, only Ronove and the scent of the black tea were left. I feel kind of bad, like I pissed her off or something. As long as you're aware of it yourself, I need say nothing more. Wait a sec. Weren't you the one who struck the finishing blow? My, what could you mean by that? How would you like some sugar and milk? Just milk would be fine. And some tea snacks would be nice too. Don't forget the bucks. I didn't think about it, but she definitely made me a convert. It'll be a bit longer before the cookies are ready. Didn't you say we've already got something to use in place of a snack? Certainly. If you will listen quietly, I will continue the story. Thanks, Ronove. You're my best bud now. I do not know how to feel about that, but I will accept it, I guess, for now. She said something about a homunculus.
I didn't know she was gay.
Oh, well, I bet it came off as really rude to her earlier. I should apologize. If there's one thing that Battler stands for, it's gay rights. And that's rights, but R-I-T-E-S. I support gays doing magic. I know a bit about that. It's that thing, right? A manufactured human created with alchemy or something. Yes. The lady's soul was shut up in a homunculus, and she was revived into this world, receiving life again as a baby. However, because she was a baby, any professions of love on Kinzo's part would have been quite useless. I don't even want to unpack that one! You weren't saying that grandfather shut the baby up in his hidden mansion until it grew to reach the same age she'd been? Correct. That is what I am saying. However, while her soul was the same, the human spirit is strongly influenced by its container. Milady lost all of her memories of the past and grew up as a very normal human girl. And you're saying that's the Beato sitting in the garden chair right there? Yes, that is correct. It grew to be completely identical. However, it did not possess her power as a witch. Milady was completely human.
Background Beato.
I saw that!
Aware that she's being spoken about?
Beato, who was sitting in the garden chair looking up at the sky, voiced that same question again. She asked who she was. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. She couldn't understand why she was living here all locked up. Grandfather had seized Beatrice's soul, shut it up in a body of flesh, and then shut that up in a hidden mansion. However, since she had lived there since the time of her birth, she couldn't even understand who she was, or why she lived shut up in there. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story seriously? Why don't I change my interpretation? In other words, couldn't it be something like this? Grandfather met Beatrice. He then fell in love with her and courted her, but she didn't accept him. Then he flew into a rage and shut her up inside this hidden mansion. Beatrice tried to escape, but no matter what she did, she couldn't succeed. So she finally chose her own death. And then, no. Maybe there was a girl who looked just like Beatrice. No, a baby. Grandfather raised this child with care, but maybe he didn't view this child as his daughter. The soul was once again shut up in a cage of flesh. Those words probably meant that he didn't view this kid as her child, but as her reincarnation. Maybe that's what it meant. If you interpret it that way, even a story this weird might make a little sense. No. This might be some bullshit Beato cooked up to confuse me. As if I could accept any of this. In the first place, Quadorian, was it? There's no proof whatsoever that a hidden mansion actually existed. Couldn't this be something she just fabricated on the spot? A hidden mansion called Quadorian does exist in the forest of Rokkenjima. That is the place we were just talking about. Huh? What the fuck? How come you can do that too? Runaway used the red to say that Quadorian actually existed. Did that mean the same thing as the red Beato used? I may not look it, but I am a demon. Please keep this a secret from a lady, yes? Sure, yes, of course. Beato, who knew I would try to trip her up, had grown extremely cautious when using red. To think that Runaway could also use the red. However, it was the red of a crafty man. I didn't know how far I could accept it, but anyway, I might be able to get some kind of hint out of it. So that Beato, relaxing in the garden of Quadorian, and the conversation she had with grandfather, were the truth? Yes. It is the truth. In the past, the pair actually had a conversation like that in this place. Thanks a lot. I'll ask for some more red. You said she was born from homunculus, but does that kind of unscientific magical thing actually exist? I am unable to answer that question. After all, doing so would cause a stalemate. A stalemate? What does that mean? How come I've been using chess metaphors and don't understand what the word stalemate means? I'm beginning to think maybe I'm not qualified to be doing this.
He's just, all he's done with chess is sit there and spin the board in circles and be like, I know Kyrie told me something about this. I don't understand how it helps, though.
It's a chess term referring to a state in which, similar to a perpetual check, any further progress in a game becomes impossible. This would be the opposite of an endless repetition of moves, because all moves would disappear and it would bring about a kind of deadlock. In chess, this would lead to a draw, just as perpetual check would. However, there can be no draws in the game between you and Milady. Therefore, I am unable to answer a question that would bring about a stalemate. Oh, you always want to confuse me by saying incomprehensible stuff, but simply put, you're trying to dodge the question because you can't use the red to say that something magical like a homunculus exists, right? If I were to say in red that a witch exists, what would you do, Battler-sama? Ugh. Whether or not I believe that is what our whole fight's about, right? I was told that point blank, it'd be game over. If I said a witch exists in red, you would have no room for argument. However, since the reason you would never have been made clear to you, Battler-sama, you probably wouldn't accept it. However, after being told that in red, you would have no room for argument and would not have been shown any proof. In this situation, even though you wouldn't be able to admit defeat, you have no way to make a counter-argument, and thus it would become a deadlock. Even though checkmate would not have been reached, there would be no existing moves left. Since you would not be able to play your next hand, it would never become Milady's turn, and the game would stop there for all eternity. As a result, Milady would be unable to force you to submit. That would be a deadlock situation. In order to avoid that, I am unable to answer questions of this nature in red. So to say it quickly, you're saying point-blank questions are prohibited? Well, that's true, I guess. If I were told a witch exists, I'd have to give up from the start. I'm pleased that you understand. I believe we might be able to work together if you ask our questions in a different form. Can you help me with that line Beatrice dodged when I told her to repeat it, about the number of people on this island? If my lady held back on repeating it, then of course I cannot respond. As my lady's furniture, I'm unable to be too forward. Ronove made an exaggerated gesture, trying to act like a loyal retainer. This guy's so shameless. Just when I thought you might actually be useful. I'll give up on that and search for a different question. That's right. I was forgetting to check something important. This is a story about Beato's memories, right? When did it happen? It couldn't be happening right now, right? Correct. This is the world of 1967. The world of 19 years previous. Oh. Let's try rearranging this story again. I wonder if it couldn't be something like this. Grandfather fell in unrequited love with a person called Beatrice. Then he confined her in this hidden mansion and continued to court her. But she was stubborn and didn't give in. Eventually she grew pessimistic about being able to escape from here, and probably committed suicide. And then, her soul was put in a homunculus and... No, if I accept that, that's the same as accepting the witch. I can interpret that part like this. She probably had a posthumous daughter. Grandfather must have believed that her soul had been placed in a new physical body, and might have thought that the child was the reincarnation of Beatrice. That means at least 19 years ago, Beato existed on this island as the 19th person. Or something like that. I'm starting to get confused. Either way, we can't do more than just speculate. The only thing we can say for sure in red is that in 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, Beatrice existed as a human. That is all. That is correct. In 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, Beatrice-sama existed as a human. Oh, thank you. That really helps. Congratulations. With this, you have made clear the existence of the piece known as the 19th person, a 19th human for you to blame, just as you longed for. A sacrificial sheep upon which you can shift the blame of any crime. How amusing that it happens to be milady. Ronove laughed indiscreetly. Somehow I didn't like how he put that, so I didn't feel like laughing along with him. That's right. There's that thing Aunt Rosa said. Beatrice is dead? What? I killed her? We kind of cut away from that right before she was about to say something, so... like, can we go back and, like... Is there a rewind function on this game? I just want to, like... I don't want to change anything. I just want to rewatch the last couple turns.
Instant replay.
Instant Rosa play, more like. Heyo! What did that mean? As for that, it may be faster to see the actual circumstances rather than listen to me tell you. Let us advance the clock a little more. Ronove pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and touched the watch stem. As soon as he did, I saw gold butterflies gather behind his back and take the form of a person. Was it Beato? I quickly realized that it was someone else. It was her. That oldest sister of the 7 stakes who loved tormenting me more than her 3 meals a day. If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to keep up with their torture game. Have we seen what they look like in the new art yet?
Have we? I don't know.
Meh.
Meh.
Meh!
Everyone's got the same pose.
It's because they gotta put a sword in it.
Yeah, but it's still...
Runaway-sama! So you're still here. This is an urgent call from Beatrice-sama. My. What kind of urgent business could it be? Seems my chat with Battler-sama has run a tad long. Well then, Battler-sama, if you will excuse me. Please continue to enjoy your game with Milady. Yeah, I'll enjoy it the best I can. Because my conversations go a lot more smoothly when they're with you as opposed to her. And you're more gracious with the red too. Come and talk again anytime you like. Battler-sama, despite how I look, I am Milady's furniture. I can do nothing that Milady does not desire. What I say in red was something that normally should have come from Milady's mouth. I did nothing more than announce the red truth in Milady's place as she sulked. So she really was sulking then. Can you say that in red? You know what? Just this once. Beatrice is off sulking right now. Oh, I'm gonna treasure that one forever. Seeing me and Runaway incomprehensibly hitting it off, that steak-nei-chan cocked her head curiously. Runaway-sama, we're keeping Beatrice-sama waiting. Let us hurry. Yes, I shall go immediately. Well, Madeline-sama, I will see you later. Appears that we have finally started getting along. So I thought I have the feeling we'll manage to become good friends. Sure, if you mean partners at gossiping behind Beato's back. Runaway-sama! Yes, yes. If you will excuse me. Maybe she didn't like seeing him act so friendly with me, or maybe she really had been told to hurry. When the steak-nei-chan let out a thunderous cry, Runaway laughed frivolously and disappeared as if running away. I delighted this. That is the sound of me laughing frivolously. Anyway, now that he's gone, I'm gonna stake your ass again. Why am I the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of purgatory, being summoned for menial tasks like this? No, Beato-sama could have told one of the younger sisters who look like they've got nothing better to do. Sheesh. Why so grumpy, Nei-chan? If you're hungry, eat a cookie or something. Especially try one of the ones in the books. You'd be surprised. Why don't I give you the last one? Oh, how thoughtful. Then shall I take one? I casually pushed the snack plate with the last remaining cookie over to her. Thank you. Oh! As though coming from a period at the end of a sentence, a sharp sound pierced the table. The nails on 3 of her fingers extended, grew sharp, and pierced the space between my fingers on the hand that was pushing the plate, missing them by a hair's breadth. It happened in an instant, so for a while I didn't even realize that her fingernails had grown. The tips of those sharp nails were like blades with a red manicure. The spaces between the bases of my fingers hurt sharply. Those razor-like blades had been plunged into the table a hair's breadth away from the back of my hand and my fingers. Because of those 3 blades, I was unable to even let my careless right hand tremble. By now, all I could do was let a bead of cold sweat drip down. Whoa! Nei-chan, this is about time to cut your nails. It's Lucifer. That's my glorious name. The honored furnisher who served Beatrice-sama and the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of purgatory. I'm not like my disgraceful younger sisters. If you don't show proper respect, you will regret it. And why would I regret it exactly? Can't really think of a reason. I fucking love Battler's shit-eating grin. Stupid kid. Do you really want to play with me that much? Was it that unforgettable? I'll thrust my stake deep, deep into you and let you enjoy being gouged to the fullest, okay? Oh, damn it. Someday I'll have you down on the floor and say the same thing. Wait. Wait, would that mean I'm still... Hold on, let me, I need to make sure there wasn't anything gay in that. Oh, really? Wow, I can't wait. And yes, it was totally gay. Damn it! I like the idea that Beato is definitely pro-gay, but also very much aware of his own heterosexuality, like, to a fault. Oh, hey, look, you get to do a thing now.
Oh, hey, we're back.
Oh, my God.
I'm here.
I feel like I've been monologuing for a while.
I'm so sorry.
This okay. I didn't realize that they were all going to be interacting like that in the meta world for a while now, so. Anyway, Rosa eventually regained her calm. The men wanted to hurry her into talking faster, but Kyrie intervened. Something like that really had happened, then it would have been a terrible experience that Rosa wouldn't want to remember. After taking several deep breaths with her hand over her chest, it seemed as if she had more or less resolved herself to talk.
How old was I then, I wonder? Middle school, probably, though I don't remember well. Anyway, I think I was about that age.
Which means maybe about 20 years ago?
Back then, my grades weren't very good, and Mother was always angry at me. I tried to do my best in my own way.
I swear to God,
but
I'm clicking it.
I couldn't match up to Mother's expectations at all.
Nah, Mother was always very strict with Rosa. I sympathized with her at I sympathized with her at the time.
Only at the time, though.
You say that even though you were always talking behind her back.
Won't you give it a rest, Eva?
No.
I suppose that settles the matter then. And then, where did you meet Beatrice, Rosa-san?
Ryoshi-san, you mustn't rush her now. It's okay, Rosa-san. Tell us at your own pace.
Thank you. It was a day I'd been harshly scolded by Mother.
Do you want to read this as
Sure.
Rosa? Yeah.
Even though my tutor had promised to keep it a secret. Apparently, they told Mother all about how I had complained. Mother scolded me brutally, saying my name was a disgrace to the Ushiromiya family. Of course, I was doing the best I could, but I had none of Kraus-Nisan's dignity. I couldn't get excellent grades like Eva-ne-san, and I had no leadership abilities like Rudolph-Nisan. I never stood out, didn't particularly excel at anything, and I found myself asking why I'd even been born into the Ushiromiya family. I began to question more and more why I'd even been born at all. This is what happened on the day I experienced my mind going blank for the first time.
Wait.
What you think you seeing?
Wait. Is Rosa the one that had been used as a homunculus?
Maybe.
Was
Possible.
Rosa the one that was used to house Beato?
For the first time in my life, I realized that in addition to facing or surrendering to my problems, I had the third choice of running away. Though I say run away, there was no way I could have left Rokkenjima and gone somewhere else. But anyway, I wanted to run away from the mansion and my own self at that time. In a way, it was like a kid running away from home, or maybe a passive sort of suicide. I wanted to disappear, or maybe it was that childlike form of resistance where I tried to make my parents worry by disappearing. I childishly thought that if I went into the center of the forest, escaped from the Ushiromiya house, and maybe became lost, then I'd make them worry and teach them a lesson.
And then, you went into the forest you were told never to enter.
Yes. After reaching the beach, I followed alongside the ocean. I didn't have any particular reason, but I felt that if I went around to the opposite side of the island, there might be a place that no one knew about, which might become a hidden house just for me.
If you go around by the beach, that'd be impossible. Comes a cliff part way around, right? There's no way you could pass that way.
Of course. So I kept going wherever I could, which kept taking me deeper and deeper inland. It's a horrible forest without any paths, but that was comforting to me then. If I could make it through such a dangerous forest, then I'd be that much further away from the Ushiromiya family.
How shameful. If you were scolded because of your grades, all you had to do was work harder. You mustn't say that. Also, would you stop with the fucking cheap shots? Yeah. Doesn't Rosa have a talent as a designer instead? Literally speaking, he was covering for Rosa, but everyone knew that Rosa's company hadn't been profitable. Wait it. This is no time for sarcasm. So, you managed to end up there by a coincidence, at Beatrice's hidden mansion. Rosa nodded weakly.
Once per week.
This is my weekly nod. After that, I cannot communicate that way.
About how far did you walk? Could you show it to us on a map? Natsuhi-san, do you have a map of this island? No, there isn't one here now. It wouldn't help. I was just walking randomly. Even if you gave me a map, I wouldn't know. And 20 years have passed since then. I probably couldn't reach it again even if I went into the forest.
Several people let out ejected sighs. I still don't buy that a rich-ass family that owns an entire island in even like as late as the 1980s hasn't had it exhaustively mapped out at this point and doesn't know exactly where everything is on it.
Counterpoint. Witches are real. And magic too.
And they're your friend? Is that the counterpoint?
But it explains why it didn't get found, if that's the case.
If that's the case, then yeah, you like some magic that keeps people from wandering in that direction, I guess. But
it's got a somebody else's problem field.
All right. It was vividly clear that in their haste, they thought of some hint related to the witch's epitaph, or maybe even the gold itself might be resting there. On Rokkenjima, only the land around the mansion is ready to be developed on. The rest is completely uncultivated, and it'd probably take a lot of work to survey the entire island. Okay, fine. At least it got explained. Thank you. But just knowing that it actually exists is helpful. It would take some money, but if we enlisted an aerial photography company to investigate, or ask the businessman who constructed this mansion about what happened at the time, we could probably find some way to search for it. That's right. At least we have more options now, as opposed to when we weren't sure it existed. Indeed. It may be worth investigating right away. The siblings will do that investigation together. We won't leave you on your own, Nissan. It wasn't yet certain that the gold was hidden at that secret mansion, but the sparks seemed to have started flying between Kraus and Ava already. Give it a rest for now, you two. Rosa, please continue.
Yes.
Okay, so they just haven't done it yet, but it is possible, and they just haven't bothered to.
Or it's magic.
That's what I have to say to you.
Okay. Blindly, randomly, I kept running, on and on. Suddenly, I came across something I thought was an animal trail. I was very tired and had no idea how far I'd walked. So at that time, I naturally took the easiest path. As I did, suddenly, right before my eyes, a very, very tall fence appeared. It was a fence wonderfully adorned in a Gothic style. I was into the Cure in those days, so I could really appreciate it. Joy Division as well. Sisters of Mercy didn't really land for me, though.
Rosa? Later.
For an instant, I thought I'd gotten turned around and returned to the original mansion. Of course, there were fences around the mansion to stop us from entering the forest, but this fence was decorated differently, and moreover, it was very tall. It probably reached a full 2 stories up.
Jesus, that's excessive.
It was covered with ivy and created a mysterious, solemn atmosphere, much like the Cure's seminal album, Disintegration.
Rosa! We'll talk about it later.
At the time, I believed in the legend of the Witch of the Forest, Beatrice. I had been told that she was frightening, but some of the servants told me that she'd sometimes help you if you respected her. Since I had a little confidence in those days, I believed the only way I could be saved was by receiving her help. That's why I thought what I did. I believed that this was the fence of the mansion belonging to Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest. I thought that if I could meet with Beatrice, she'd definitely save me. So I decided to try going in. But the fence was very, very tall, and it didn't look like I'd be able to go over it. So I chose to walk around it. I thought that if I did, I'd eventually reach a gate. But it wasn't that easy. The fence had an incredible length to match its incredible height, and no matter how far I went, I didn't reach a corner. It might have encircled a massive area, or maybe I just had that impression because my child's legs made it difficult to walk in the forest. Anyway, I couldn't find a gate for a while, and I started to feel sad, as though the witch had rejected me. As I did, I eventually came upon a large tree whose twisted root had bent the fence. It might get my clothes dirty, but if I crawled, it looked like I'd be able to sneak in.
And there you found the hidden mansion.
I don't know if it was the hidden mansion we've been talking about. Still, at the very least, it wasn't a place that we know of. It wasn't as though I came out into a garden as soon as I passed the fence. I had to continue through a lot more uncultivated forest after that.
Interesting. We are getting so much fascinating backstory this time around. I fucking love this.
As I did, the forest suddenly opened up, and what appeared there was an unbelievably fantastical scene. To think that on Rokkenjima, where I thought only we lived, there could be such a wonderful mansion hidden away. A beautiful flower garden spanned the front of the mansion. It was a flower garden of a completely different design than the rose garden we know so well, and it was very lovely. Of course, the mansion was also wonderful. It was a couple sizes smaller than ours, maybe a large rather than an extra large. Maybe a venti rather than a grande.
Oh my god. Rosa, if you want a cup of coffee, I'll just fetch it for you, okay?
Please do.
Okay.
At once.
Don't push your luck.
It was a couple sizes smaller than ours, but it was still elegant and adorable at the same time. Then I saw her figure. I saw her sitting in a garden chair, positioned to give a view of the flower garden, wearing an elegant dress. It was that black dress embroidered in gold that we would later know from that portrait. I hadn't seen an elegant dress like that, except in fairy tales, on the stage of musicals, and in certain of the bands that I followed at the time.
Oh my god, Rosa, we get it. You're a fucking music snob.
For a person to be wearing it as her normal clothes, that in itself seemed quite fantastical. I must have found a goth on Rokkenjima.
Listen, we don't have to listen to any more of this now. I think we got the salient point.
That mysterious scene was enough to make me lose my sense of reality. If someone had told me that it was a dream, I might have nodded obediently and waited to wake up in my bed. I had forgotten to hide myself in my shock, so she eventually spotted me. At first, her expression was quite listless. But when she noticed me, the expression began to be listed.
Oh my god.
As it turns out, she could list several expressions.
These are the many expressions of Beato.
Her eyes opened very wide. It was only natural, considering that a guest she didn't know had suddenly appeared. I lowered my head automatically, planning to greet her and apologize for entering without permission. Who are you? The new gardener?
Those were the first words she said. Oh, that's you still.
Those were the first words she said to me.
Finally, I get to take a break. This is great.
I grew slightly calmer because I realized that we could talk to each other. Because I hadn't been turned into a frog, just like meeting her eyes, like a terrifying witch in a fairy tale. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have entered the garden without permission. Who are you? Name yourself. I can just do that?
Yeah, you can just pick your... Has no one told you this yet? Listen, kid, I'm gonna blow your mind. You can have whatever name you want to have.
Anyway, I am Usharomia Rosa. Usharomia. Huh. One of Kinzo's family. Huh? Ah, yes. I'm Kinzo's daughter. Good afternoon. I was a little surprised. After all, father was a great man, feared by everyone. and yet she had spoken of him without using honorifics. So I was immediately terrified of her. After all, if she could refer to my fearsome father that way, she must be a witch with incredible power. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over. Frightened as I was, I obeyed. After all, I thought she might really turn me into a frog. The closer I got, the stronger that fear became. After all, as I keep saying over and over, that woman and her dress and the flower garden and the mansion, that whole picture was so fantastical and beautiful that it seemed separate from reality. It probably wouldn't have surprised me at all to learn that she really was a witch. And I really was lucky. She hadn't turned me into a frog. As I awkwardly stood there, stock still, she motioned to an open chair and urged me to sit down. Have a seat. Welcoming and speaking to those who visit this garden for the first time is my sole pleasure. Of course, I have no pleasures other than that. As she said this, she let an unhappy smile show for just an instant. Because I was full of a strange mix of tension and excitement, I rudely asked her a question all of a sudden. Are you the witch of the forest, Beatrice? Indeed, I am Beatrice.
Interesting. As I thought. Beatrice actually existed. Nah, did she really look like the portrait?
Yes, really just like the portrait. So, she wasn't just a witch from Father's imagination.
I was about to say that. We only have Rosa as our single source on this, but Beato essentially backed it up herself already by telling a similar story to Battler.
And we have Red Truth.
And Red Truth. That's true, we did have Red Truth. Yeah, it got Red Truthed. Never mind, yeah. Well, what did you talk with her about?
As she prepared some tea, she asked me all kinds of things about myself. First, she was surprised that I had come through the forest. It seems she believed that many dangerous wolves lived outside the fence. So when I told her I'd come through the forest to reach this place, she was shocked. She asked how I had managed to escape from the wolves. Did I give them a biscuit and they let me go? Or did I cover myself in a magic cloak? That kind of thing. Wahaha, that sure sounds like a witch. What an interesting person.
Quiet, dear. This goes way back. But didn't Father threaten us, saying we should never get near the forest because of the wolves that lived there? Yeah, he did say something of the sort. Ridiculous. Even though Japanese wolves went extinct long ago. Truly a trick to fool children. I don't remember, though. Did Dad really tell us something like that? It was the witch of the forest, right? I don't think I've ever heard about wolves. This was when you were still in elementary school. Don't you remember? Back then you actually said you thought it'd be cool to try petting the wolves. Father immediately gave up on the wolf story and changed it to the story about the witch. Seriously, what transparent lies they were. At the time, the witch story had a much more immediate effect on you, Rudolph, than the wolves. Remember it very well. Don't you remember those nights when you clung to my back? I see. So even Rudolph's son used to be that cute. Shut up. Guys, come on. Not in front. Guys.
I see we've moved from the cousins bullying Battler to the siblings bullying
each other.
Or bullying specifically Rudolph.
Yep. And runs in my part of the family, I guess. Shut up, I was a kid. Well, at any rate, if Father's the one who shut Beatrice up in there, it makes sense that he'd use the same story about wolves. To him, the vast force of Rokkenjima was a wall that shouldn't be crossed, dividing his two incompatible worlds, the Ushiromiya family and his mistress's mansion. Considering the height of that fence, it does sound as though Father turned that whole area, and garden and all, into a giant jail cell. It's like a border dividing his two separate worlds.
Wolves aside, could there have been some breed of stray dogs there at the time? Perhaps the fence was there to protect against those.
There aren't any wolves or stray dogs on Rokkenjima. That fence was probably a border between us and Beatrice.
But if she innocently believed that story about wolves, that's pretty naive. That's nothing like what I'd expect a witch to do. You're right. I sensed that too. She was very pompous, just like my image of a witch, but she was somehow very childish. She was, how should I put it, too straightforward. She gave me the impression that she didn't know anything about the world. It was as though she'd come from some fairy tale land. She really was a strange person.
What happened to her after that? Did you end up talking about Dad at all?
Yes. Once every few days, usually on an arranged day, but sometimes suddenly.
Wait, I thought she said she couldn't find her way back there.
We haven't reached the end of the sentence.
Oh. You're right, we haven't reached the end of the sentence. My bad.
Father would casually appear, and they'd drink together or else take a walk together or something. She said she just happened to be alone on the day I visited.
I see. An obvious mistress, you might say. My. I don't know how much younger she was, but good for Father.
We can be sure this was no indecent relationship.
Idiot, there's no way a lover's meeting between a man and a woman wouldn't have some sensuality. What happened next? What did you talk about after that?
I'd already introduced myself, so I asked about her. When I did, the atmosphere quickly grew depressing. How should I put it? She seemed to grow listless and lonely. It was that same expression I saw on her face in the beginning.
Well, she was his hidden mistress after all. She just walked around wherever she liked. Mom might have found her. I'll bet she was practically under house arrest. Even though she had beautiful clothes, a beautiful mansion, and a garden, she must have felt pretty cramped. I bet she had it rough. And then?
She was definitely worried about something. I remember feeling really sad myself when I realized it wasn't something I could do anything about by talking to her. She seemed to forget I was even there. She gazed vaguely off into the distance and was silent for a long, long time. I thought I must have said something wrong, but it didn't seem to be the type of atmosphere where I could apologize. So I remained silent too for a long, long time, until she remembered I was there. And then she muttered unexpectedly, "Are there really no wolves beyond the fence?" Huh? Yes, that's right. I've never seen wolves, not even in a zoo. What is a zoo? It's a place where they keep all kinds of animals. They're full of rare animals like elephants and giraffes and pandas. She does Jessica face.
Oh, why do we keep expecting to find something in the new images?
Yeah.
That's...
Oh, wonderful.
That's really
Perfection.
good. Oh.
So there aren't any wolves in a zoo? Then, it might not be so scary. Even if there were wolves, all of the animals are put in cages, so it's safe. That's why you can safely look at them and learn about them. The mighty witch of the forest was apparently terrified of wolves. I remember it looked pretty funny to me at the time. How am I any different? Huh? She didn't know about zoos. I explained how fun zoos could be, but it was very difficult for a person like her, who had never visited one, to understand. On the contrary, as I explained it to her, her expression grew increasingly dismal. She couldn't see the difference. Apparently, even though she lived in an elegant mansion that was surrounded by a high fence and seemed to lack for nothing, she couldn't see how she was any different from animals shut up in cages. Who am I? Everyone calls me Beatrice, and that does indeed seem to be the name of a great witch, as you say. But that isn't me. I cannot use any magic. I simply have the soul of that witch sealed inside my body. Oh, there was definitely something odd about her, beyond just being cut off from the world. It seemed she truly believed that magic exists. I think she talked about lots of weird things, but I don't remember the details. All I thought was that this might be a person to be pitied. She was unable to leave this mansion of her own free will, a prisoner without even realizing it. And she didn't know anything about the outside world, didn't even understand who she was. She probably vaguely realized that she was to be pitied, but since she didn't know anything, she seemed incapable of recognizing her own unhappiness. Long ago, when I told Nei-san that I felt sorry for a bird in a cage, she said this: "A bird that only knows about the inside of the cage doesn't long for the outside." But this wasn't a bird. She really was a person. Even if she'd never been outside the cage, she understood that there was more to the world. So, I invited her. Do you want to try going outside the fence? There really aren't any wolves? There aren't. You'll definitely be safe. I want to leave, but the gate is always closed.
Sad Beato face, look at that. Oh my god. The art in this game is amazing. Can we just agree on that?
Yes.
I know we've said it over and over again, but I want to keep saying it. The art in this game. There's so much personality in this game's artwork. I am constantly enamored with all of these characters and their expressions.
It's great.
They're like, I genuinely do not understand how someone looks at the new images and thinks, yeah, that's an improvement. No!
There's the place I came in through. It's got a crack you can slip through. If we go through there, will there be a world outside? Yes.
How come we don't get Tiny Rosa artwork?
There really aren't any wolves. Right, there aren't any. I'd only planned on inviting her to go on a short walk, but she kept looking over her shoulder at the mansion, as though she was seriously worrying over the decision. Then I learned what she was preparing herself for. I have had enough of this place. I want to go outside. And I want to know who I am, what's happening in this world, and why I was born. I didn't know what her life had been like before then. It was probably something she couldn't express easily. If it was harsh, she just had to say she wanted to escape. If it was sweet, she just had to say she'd stay. For example, maybe it was like how a hot fireplace on a winter day makes the air get thicker and thicker, giving you a headache. Even though you know you shouldn't keep things the way they are, you still need courage to open the window and be tormented by the cold wind. She was starting to realize that she couldn't stay there forever. She was starting to realize that she had to go outside someday. But since she didn't know about the outside world, she must have needed courage to take that unspeakable first step outside. And despite that, she had made her decision. She'd voiced her decision to go outside, a decision she was probably making for the first time in her life. I hesitated for a moment. Father had decided that she should live here. She was like Father's beloved bird in a cage. If I just let her escape, Father might scold me harshly. I want to see. See what? I want to see a zoo.
That's so fucking precious. And look at her two little fangs.
I fucking told you. Hashtag Team Witch. Hashtag Team Witch.
God, I can't argue in the face of this preciousness.
I was just a little surprised when she finally gave me a gentle smile.
Aww.
Could that have been a far-sightedness brought about by her decision to venture out from her cage? It was a smile so gentle, I couldn't imagine that it had come from that once dark face. When I speak with you, I keep hearing about things I don't know. I don't even know about this thing called school, nor do I know about zoos. I don't know about movie theaters, I don't know about amusement parks. And I feel, from the bottom of my heart, that I want to know about those things. Will you take me to see them? Huh? Yes. I was nervous about how I could keep it a secret from Father, but her face looked so happy, so I went along with her and nodded. But she seemed not to notice the meaning behind my vague smile. She seemed to believe that I'd really take her to all those places. She was pure and genuine. She'd probably never been tricked by anyone. No, maybe it's better to say that she'd never learned how to doubt.
She'd be very bad at L.A. Noire. Nailed it. Got it in one.
Her smile was somehow radiant and yet pathetic. I wanted to find a way to grant her modest wish. I have had enough of Beatrice. I want to know who I am. I want to start out as a new human, not Beatrice. So, I want you to take me away from here. I don't need tea anymore. I don't need this dress. I won't meet with Kinzo again. Please, take me from here, Rosa. However, that responsibility was one that a child like me couldn't hope to fully bear. Still, when I saw her serious gaze, along with that brilliant smile that made it look as though a possessing spirit had left her, I could feel a little courage start to rise up inside me. This was definitely something that would get me into a lot of trouble, and yet, it was definitely the right thing to do.
Wait, isn't this about how she leads Beato to her death?
Yes. I don't know how it'll turn out.
I just remembered that part.
I'll take her away from here. She takes Beato out and then the wolves come.
Damn it! I thought you said there were no wolves.
I'm incredibly allergic to dogs. Ugh.
That ugh was very Beato.
Of course, I won't be able to talk to Father, and not Mother either. Should I talk to Oni-sama or One-sama? No. What about that reliable Genji-san? Or, that's right, what about Kumasawa-san?
Someone say my name?
Yes.
Oh.
To whom I can always talk when I'm in trouble.
Oh, yes, you can always come talk to old Kumasawa-san.
I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Anyway, for now, I'll take her out of here. This was already a place she didn't want to be. So I took her to the crack in the fence and led her outside. She was all nervous, checking to make sure there were no wolves around, but once that fear disappeared, even just walking around this dense forest seemed to be fun somehow. Every time she found something, she'd ask me about it, and they were all really trivial things. What's that flower? What's that leaf? And that sound? And that smell? It really was like the inside of that fence had been her entire world. So now that she'd traveled beyond the limits of her world, it's strange. When I first saw her, I really thought she was the witch herself, relaxing inside the witch's mansion. But now, it was different, or actually the complete opposite. She'd left a world she believed to be finite, and was overjoyed at the realization that the world was endless, something she'd never thought of before.
What a very appropriate choice of words.
So everything she saw was new. It was almost as though she was the one who had been thrown into a fairy tale. If she was Alice, then I felt almost like a rabbit holding a watch.
All right, and time. Had there been an Alice illusion before this point?
I don't think so.
All right, 2.5 chapters. That's not too bad, actually.
To her, it was probably a really fun walk, filled to the brim with excitement.
It's like at least 60 hours or something into the game.
But I was actually at a loss at what to do. After all, I walked randomly to get there. Of course I didn't know the way back to our mansion. There were no lights in the forest, and I hadn't brought a flashlight. I realized it would be terrible if it got dark while we were still like this, and grew impatient. She was too innocent, and apparently she couldn't understand at all how frightening it would be to face the night inside the forest. But I was the one who brought her outside. I had to take responsibility somehow and resolve this situation. So I had a thought. Let's go out to the ocean for now. If we then follow the beach around, we should eventually make it back to the mansion. However, that was much more of a problem than I'd imagined. I didn't have a map or a compass. There was no way I could walk in a straight line through an uncultivated forest, and I immediately lost my sense of direction. I already had no clue which trail I had come by and was completely lost. At this rate, night would definitely fall before I had a clue where to walk. But this was no time to cry. After all, that woman following behind me was so innocent and having so much fun. So I definitely had to lead the way through this forest for the sake of her smile as well. Gritting my teeth so that she didn't see me looking troubled, I pushed my way through the woods, advancing down a path that wasn't a path. Then, after going through various troubles, I fortunately managed to reach the ocean. At that time, I still didn't even have a clue where I was on the island, but for the time being, I was just a little reassured, realizing that if I just went around this way, I would surely be able to return to the mansion. However, though I had reached the ocean, we were at the top of a rock cliff. The beach was far below us. I was tired from walking around the forest for so long. So I figured that an open area, even a rocky beach, would probably be much easier to walk in. So I suggested that we go down that rocky cliff somehow. It looked pretty dangerous, but I figured there was no other way. However, Beatrice agreed to my plan without any doubts.
Uh-oh.
Even though she was probably older than me, she meekly obeyed, almost as though she were some kind of chick who thought I was her mother.
Uh-oh.
I searched to see if there was some part of the cliff I'd be able to get down. Then I found a place where the cliff had fallen over and made a slope. It looked a little dangerous, but if I went down using both hands and both legs, like I was crawling, I thought it'd probably be okay. Let's go down here. It'll be dangerous if we aren't careful.
Nope, come on.
But if we go down to the beach and walk along it, I don't think we'll have to worry about being lost anymore. Indeed. If that's what you're doing, I'll go too. Even getting lost is fun for me. Quite amusing. She really had no sense of danger. There was probably no doubt that she'd lived a life without discomfort. Even though she knew it would get dark when night fell, she couldn't imagine how dangerous the inside of a forest could be without a light. Furthermore, it seemed she couldn't grasp at all how dangerous it might be if she fell from the cliff. I warned her repeatedly to be careful. I cautiously examined our potential route down. It seemed to be quite a long drop. I think it might have been about 10 meters down. If you looked at it from the bottom up, it probably would have looked shorter than the roof of the mansion, but looking from the top, it almost felt like staring down from the observation room on Tokyo Tower. But Beatrice still appeared to be completely without fear. it felt as though she had never even been taught that high places were dangerous. No, maybe she believed that she was a witch, and that she could fly, so there wasn't any need to worry.
Uh-oh, is Beato gonna jump?
Please be careful.
Thinking that she's okay?
We're pretty high up. Indeed, I shall be careful. It looks like we can get to the ocean if we go down. Is there an aquarium there? No, there aren't any aquariums on this island, but there should be lots of fish in the sea. I see, so there are fish. Are there, whales and dolphins and penguins like you talked about? No, you'd have to go to an aquarium for those, and you'd have to leave this island to find an aquarium. Is that so? Well, I'm looking forward to it. What kind of fish are whales? They're really big fish. Huh, aren't they mammals? And they spit seawater into the air. Oh.
Oh? They spit seawater into the air.
And dolphins. They're really smart fish, and weren't they also mammals? They're really smart and can be taught tricks and stuff. Oh, then what about penguins? Weren't they birds? What's going on? We're talking about aquariums, but none of these things seem to be fish. There aren't just fish. It's full of all kinds of things that live in the ocean. Haha, I really am looking forward to that. Yeah. She let out what might have been a funny, rushed, and short cry. No, it was probably a scream. It came right out of the blue. Her body separated from the cliff and silently fell. I immediately wanted to say something to her. I wanted to say, "Didn't I tell you to be more careful?" It was the thought of a child. It was how a child immediately gets mad when something bad happens, trying to find an excuse to show it wasn't their fault. Of course, I said it out loud. "Are you okay? Didn't I warn you over and over?"
Oh, that's no good. That's... So, she fell from the cliff, and then what? What happened to her, Rosa? Rosa fell silent. Her gaze dropped to her feet as though she were seeing through the floor into some disgusting memory. She died, didn't she? Oh. Oh my gosh, it sounded like my brother there. Oh. She died, didn't she? Ava's brutal words were the ones that Rosa had most wanted to avoid. And when she was hit with them, she screamed in resignation.
Yes, she died! It was a rocky beach with lots of sharp, dangerous rocks exposed. Her eyes were still open, and an incredible amount of blood kept pouring out, quickly spreading out until it looked like a red carpet. I spoke to her, shook her, but she refused to respond, not even a blink. No, she wouldn't even close her eyelids. It was my fault. She was wearing a dress, remember? Even though I knew her outfit was difficult to move in, I said we should go down the cliff. She was incredibly innocent, so she obeyed what I said without any doubts. How long do you plan on remaining dead? Open your eyes already. Darn you, turning into a lump of meat all by yourself while I'm gone.
What?
Cause he finished up with taunting Lucifer, and it ended with the blood splatter the last time that we saw it cut from the metaverse. So he totally just got murdered again.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just flirting with your ass today, Chan friends. More importantly, what the heck's going on over here?
Well, as you can see, I missed my footing, fell down, air quotes, and died.
What the hell? You know you showed up as the 19th person, you were already dead? Don't mess with me, that's impossible. I thought Rosa was a kid and she panicked. It's not like a doctor was there. Probably just mistakenly thought you were dead and you were probably, Alive and pretending to be dead or something? Okay, this actually sounds stupid now that I say it out loud.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? It can't be true. She's got to be alive, otherwise how could she be here? The kid-aged Aunt Rosa shook Beatrice's body, crying. I stared into that face too, but her eyes were still open and it really was a corpse. I wanted to dodge the issue by saying something vague like she must be playing dead, but no matter how I looked at it, it didn't look fake at all. It really did look like she was dead. Beatrice had fallen upside down from a cliff of that height. Her head had smashed against the pointed tip of those sharp rocks. Yeah, you probably would die after landing on those rocks from that height. But I couldn't accept it. No matter how dead she looked, she had to be alive. And then she went on to become this damn irritating wench. It makes all these inconsistencies fit. Grandfather must have kept her confined constantly in a hidden mansion. Then to take revenge for that, she committed several atrocious murders. Aunt Rosa probably just mistakenly thought she was dead. But she was actually alive, and as soon as Aunt Rosa left, would miraculously breathe again. Then she, somehow, lived on until today and opened the curtain on her revenge drama. Otherwise the facts just don't fit together. I won't let you trick me so easily. Can you repeat it in red? That she's certainly dead. She has to be alive, right? It's obvious.
How does that look alive to you? It's definitely dead.
No! I'm still never ready for it. Do you know what it's like to, see stuff that you hear? It's so disconcerting.
I mean, yeah, I am smoking the witch pipe all the time.
You're smoking so much, I'm getting secondhand high? My theory that the 19th person was grandfather's mistress, a human Beatrice, has been defeated. I had planned to strike back from a defensive position, but... Then who are you? You just died, right? Don't tell me you revived yourself with magic.
I've already explained that, have I not? The me lying over there definitely possesses my soul, but that body is nothing more than a cage of flesh tying me to the physical world. This is how that cage of flesh was broken. Do you understand what that means?
I don't have a clue anymore. Keep having fun with your witch girl tricks. I'll listen to that in place of a snack. What the? It's empty. Where'd it go? Oh, shit. Did Lucifer actually take it? Hey, gotta get some more black tea over here.
No.
Oh, asshole.
Ronove, our guest would like some more black tea.
When Beato clapped her hands, Ronove appeared. I'm here. Butlers sure are convenient. A refill, you say? Certainly. How much shall I pour you? Will I get more than enough snacks? Half will be fine. Even so, filling it to the brim is the English custom.
It's like, I don't want that much tea, and yet you're getting that much tea.
Even though just enough to wet my throat would have been fine, he filled it to the top. I turned my back to Beato, sipping it in silence. You sure this isn't witch piss?
Hey, wake up, Beatrice. Rosa shook me. No, shook the corpse that had once been me. I watched over her from a short distance away. Ah, so I fell from there and died. For a while, I believed that was true. I saw Rosa spend a long time beside my corpse, then watched her as she ran away. Eventually, I realized that I was a different individual from that corpse.
Okay.
That's right. I'm me. So, I've finally managed to escape from Kinzo's bonds. Eventually, I felt the memory return.
So is this why she exists, in air quotes? Because she exists, but she no longer has a physical body tying her to this world.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The fact that I was an endless witch who had lived for 1,000 years. Then I remembered that I'd been summoned by Kinzo and that I'd been imprisoned by him for a long time. Well,
a long time? Against a lifespan of 1,000 years? I don't buy that.
Well, that said, a long time being imprisoned doesn't have to be that many years.
Okay, yeah, that's actually, yeah, okay, that's fair.
While being imprisoned in a cage of flesh, I completely lost my memory as a witch. However, thanks to Rosa, if you could say that. Thanks to my accidental death, I'd now finally regained myself. Rosa, you probably regret bringing about my death, but I should be thanking you. I couldn't see Rosa anymore. Did she go to call a doctor, or was she so terrified that she ran away?
And that's why, like, she has such a hard time manifesting to people on the island. Ah!
It no longer matters. That soulless shell no longer has any value. And yet, I'm so frail now. Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me. I destroyed my human form. Then I changed it into several gold butterflies. Yes, with my magic power as frail as it is now, this form is easier to maintain. To escape even a little from the light of the sun, I rode the wind and gently flew up the side of the cliff. It'll probably be a bit cooler in the forest. Anyway, I'll take some time to recuperate and regain my former power, as I ponder how to make Kinzo pay up all he owes me. Dancing alone through the air, I looked down at the shore one more time. On the rocky shore lay the figure of what had once been me, the figure I would eventually regain. To regain the form of that physical body I had thrown away, it would probably take me more than 100, 200 days, and it might require 1,000 days, or perhaps even more. However, I am the Endless Witch, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. Waiting any countable number of days would be no problem. The uncountable infinities, though, those still fuck with me. I still can't handle that.
I love countable versus uncountable infinities. It's so wild.
Oh, Kinzo.
That moment when you realize that not all infinities are the same as each. Oh, God.
And that indeed the number of sizes of infinities are indeed themselves infinite.
Yep. It's so good. Sorry.
Regret that you are not here now. No longer will you be able to capture me.
You look kind of like orange slices.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm hungry for an orange slice.
Okay.
Just one, though. Please discard the rest of the orange.
Fuck, now I want an orange slice, but we don't have oranges anymore.
Too bad. And then you changed into gold butterflies, hid in the forest, and waited for your magical power to be restored. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct. I take this form to sneer at you, but most of the time, it is easier magically for me to keep my form as gold butterflies.
Oh, you take it specifically for me, huh? Well, I appreciate the effort.
Specifically, and the sneering. That part's important.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, good.
Hey, feel free to take a load off and stick to whatever's easiest. I wouldn't mind not having to hear your irritating laugh.
That stays, even with the butterflies.
Fuck!
When I turned into butterflies and slipped into the forest, it was already no longer possible for Kinzo to find me. However, Kinzo was not dismayed. Still, he was not immediately able to prepare a way to catch me. So he first moved to prevent me from leaving this island, and to keep me from regaining my power. My. At any rate...
Which is what that mirror was.
Yeah. At any rate, Kinzo's spitefulness was unimaginable. It was pretty tough to be loved by someone like that.
Yeah, he sounds like kind of an asshole.
Yeah, tell me about it.
He found a way to keep you from leaving after you turned into butterflies. What, did he put a bug net around the entire forest?
Indeed, a magical one. Didn't you know? On the sea in front of the harbor is a reef, upon which sits a small shrine of Eastern magic.
And then Sayo broke it, yep. That. It was gone by this year, though. It was a small shrine built long ago by a Shugenja, right? From the very beginning, Rokkenjima has been an island enveloped by distortion. It attracts things of magical power and other related creatures. Milady herself is one of them. How about some more tea?
Please. They wrought harm to humans and probably left several eerie legends in their wake. That small shrine was built in ancient times by an Eastern magician who had heard of them. A long time passed, and that power was lost. By repairing it, Kinzo restored this island's barrier, and once again bound me to the island.
Can Eastern magic work on a Western witch like you?
Normally, the affinity would be poor. However, for the purpose of sealing me here, it may have been quite convenient in a way. If it was Western magic, I would have had some knowledge. For any barrier, there would have been some measures I could have taken, but Eastern magic is outside my area of expertise. It was as if I had been given chopsticks instead of a spoon for some soup that I wanted to drink.
In a space dominated by Eastern magic, Western magic loses much of its power. Even if she were given 1,000 days to regain her strength, she would have to wait many, many more. So you're saying it took you 20 years to regain your power, and now you've revived, as we can all see?
Those were horribly long years. I spent many days in the form of gold butterflies, found Kinzo's mansion, and watched over him every day. I lived through those days with no means to enjoy myself except to ponder how I would get back at him.
Okay, well maybe hear me out. Hear me out on this one. How about you just kill Kinzo and leave the rest of us alone? Like I'm cool with it. Honestly,
Can I
go for it?
Okay, but let's bargain. Can I get like one or two more?
It depends. I kind of like some of them a little bit.
Okay, that's fair.
How about Goda? Nobody likes Goda. What has he ever done, huh?
That period of 20 years was fortunate for me. Kinzo tried to use all sorts of magic to find and capture me, but each failed.
Oh, Beato.
There's a limit to how many miracles a single human can bring about. Even simply holding me captive for that long had been a miracle far above his place. It would be unthinkable for me to be captured like that multiple times.
Grandfather said something in the previous game. It was something like, magic lies in a miracle of probability.
Indeed. As Kinzo was searching for a hidden art to capture me again, he stumbled upon that.
Oh, stumbled upon, I know that.
Yeah, it existed back in those days.
It's really strange. How come I can view websites when they don't exist yet?
Yeah. That's the Western magic.
Oh god.
Then, he finally worked out the ceremony involving the offering of 13 people as sacrifices to revive me again.
Wait, Beato, I found a lot of pictures of me, and also you. It's on this website called Tumblr. You ever seen this? Look at this. Oh my god, it's sacrilegious. I look nothing like that. That is the witch's epitaph. A song of sacrifices. 6 people on the first twilight, 2 people on the second, and then 5 more people on the 4th through 8th twilights. A forbidden ceremony involving the offering of a total of 13 people as sacrifices. Those sacrifices were to be chosen randomly, and the one who held the ceremony, Kinzo himself, was no exception. What a dumbass! You're saying all that gruesome murders in this island were a weird ceremony? I had a vague idea this might be the case, but I couldn't just hear that it was true from a witch and demon say, oh really, and accept it.
There are 18 people on Rokkenjima. 13 are offered as sacrifices, 5 are left alive. Then I revive. In other words, the odds that Kinzo will be able to meet me again are probably around 1 in 3. As it turns out, that's good enough odds for a miracle.
Whoa, it seems like it'd need more of a long shot.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, right?
Wow, okay. I mean, I'd take those odds.
You will.
What?
Anyway, he bet his own life on those odds, wishing for a reunion with me for the last bit of his remaining life.
You're saying he gathered a family for the sake of that joke of a ceremony? Don't fuck with me! Unlike Ryuji, I get to say fuck whenever I want to. Don't say stuff like that, damn it!
It was all set out in our contract from the beginning. When Kinzo's life ended, all the gold I lent him and all of the assets he created would be given to me. Yes, Kinzo did stab me in the back quite brutally, but looking back now, it was a rare and precious time during my 1,000 years of life. After all, boredom is my natural enemy. To Kinzo, who offered me a chance to run away from that for several decades. Yeah, you could say I owed him for that.
See, if it was just boredom, we could just go play more games on your Nintendo Switch. You were just getting very good at Mario Kart.
AU where Beato just finds a hobby.
I've gotten into woodworking now.
I decided to go along with Kinzo's game, so... To start, Kinzo returns the Ushiromiya family head's ring to me. It was my goal to revive the family after all. Then, 13 people are chosen at random to be sacrifices. While that happens, you all run about, showing me all kinds of human interactions as you try to oppose me, and entertaining me greatly. Yes, I truly have taken a liking to this game of Kinzo's.
Really? I don't like it at all. It would hardly get you $1.50 at GameStop.
I don't know. I think you'll find it's quite critically acclaimed.
Whoa. I definitely won't believe in that kind of magic story.
Fuck, I thought I got you there.
Oh, then who are you? You fell off a cliff and died, right? Your soul slipped out, became butterflies, and went into the forest? That isn't possible. What do you think this is, the Legend of Zelda? But you're here. Who are you? Aren't you the 19th person?
That is true. I am the 19th person. But it's useless, right? It's all useless.
No! Would you stop doing that while we're just talking?
There are no more than 18 humans on this Rokkenjima.
Fuck! And then just wait, no. The Curb Your Enthusiasm bit starts playing. Huh? What did you just say? So you're saying the X in 18 plus X doesn't exist? You're saying the piece I took, the X, it doesn't even exist at all? That is what this means. My condolences. Also, my condolences to this fucking mouse.
I'm so worried that one of these times the mouse will freeze and will hit the exit by accident.
That'll be fine. Still, you do move fast, my lady. And I thought you'd let him flounder about for a bit before spinning everything around at the end. Well then, Battler-sama, would some more tea be agreeable? I don't need it, damn it! I don't believe it! The culprit can't be one of the 18? Then what are you? And why are you here? The 19th person doesn't exist, then are you saying you're one of the 18 in disguise?
Perhaps you are castling. Though reluctantly, you are doubting one of the 18 people as your last way out. However, it will be difficult for me from here on out. If you choose to stop caring about propriety, you can prepare a culprit freely amid 18 people, making you reach checkmate by evading those 18 pieces. Will be truly difficult.
As if I do that, I won't suspect any of the 18. I don't want to suspect people. Have I really been cornered here again? Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
It looks like we're finally approaching the end in the third round of this game of ours.
Wait, already? This is only like episode 3.
You've nowhere to run anymore, right?
I mean episode 3 of the series of episode 3. You know what I mean?
You don't want to suspect any of those beloved people in the 18, do you? Were you trying to hide that from me? Then why do you refuse me? They say you should play the opening like a book, the middle game like a magician, and the end game like a machine. I'll corner you from here on. Slowly, carefully, surely. Or, on the other hand, would it be better if I pressed you all at once, which might suit your style more? Yes, that should fit you well. Let's do that. I'm now fully aware of the sorts of attacks you're weakest against.
It turns out basic logic. That works really well against me. I have a hard time arguing against arguments that are technically valid but also functionally useless. If only I had paid attention in debate class instead of yelling, "Debate me!" Whoa. Anyway, I'm back. What I miss?
Cuts from Battler chatting with Beato and suspecting amongst the 18, directly to Battler chatting with Jessica, who looks the same.
Jessica's the one that we all kind of guessed was...
So, we need to know... So, we need to settle this right here and now, then. It's totally not Jessica. It's totally a red herring.
I do think it's still a red herring, yeah. I think that's still a bit too obvious.
Yeah.
But...
Like, I could see a case for it. I don't think that's the way they're going to go. Yeah. It's just too obvious.
Yeah. But that's clearly what they want us to believe.
Kraus is Beato.
How do you like my old witch laugh?
I see we're cutscened.
Yeah, we're cutscening right now. And because we record this with the music turned down on our end, we can't hear most of what's happening in the background, unfortunately. The music, we know the music in this game is great. We've heard it a whole bunch, but just to make recording for us easier, we turn it down. It still comes out in the recording, though, so it's all good. Oh!
I'm interrupting the cutscene.
Stop that. Go back to where you came from. Mr. Kinzo, if that's your real name.
One of my sorcerer's abilities is to act freely during cutscene using, menu storage? Item storage?
Shit, do you know how to do the BLJ?
No, not yet.
Witch magic that just lets you clip out of bounds.
Witch magic that lets you do arbitrary code execution. By storing invalid values.
Hold on, I'm gonna speedrun Umineko when they cry but first I need to start by playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and adjusting some of these save values there.
Is it murder time?
Oh, it's murder o'clock. I don't like that o'clock. Why would it still be murder o'clock? Alright, y'all, we'll see. That was a really long episode, actually, wasn't it?
But awesome.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm glad that followed up the last episode. The last episode was kind of like,
I see we went from let's get into tortured explanations of not that complex logical points to let's get all the backstory.
Yeah, apparently. God. All right, well, see you all next time.
Yeah.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.